Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the beautiful glass and shining architecture and loud Viking horn of US Bank Stadium. We have the Sea of Purple match today, as it is the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Minnesota Vikings. You see John Harbaugh over there with the Ravens. They've been doing pretty well this season. They're in top 10 in multiple stat categories. And then we've got the Vikings. After doing so well last season, they are having a lot of trouble right now. But who knows, maybe we can get a little bit of an upset here as the game is just about to kick off. I'm your host, AJ. We're in week 10 officially, and let's get this game underway. Ball going to be taken out to about the 27, and this is where J.J. McCarthy, the famous 9, will start his drive. He has been having, unfortunately, not a really good season. A lot of people wanted him to do well coming into the shoes that Sam Darnold made a lot bigger than people thought they were going to be. But he has been struggling immensely. Nice little throw there to Jordan Addison as Malachi Starks got the tackle, and one of the Vikings linemen seems a little bit shook up. We are going to hope he is okay.
41-yard line.
First and 10 now. McCarthy under center, man in the backfield. He is going to hand it off, and that is going to be a tackle for Jordan Mason with pretty much nothing gained there. As we take a look at some of the injuries for the Ravens, you see a lot of good names up there, one of the big ones being Marlon Humphrey. Big impact of him not being here on this defense. But the offense that they are going up against is relatively poor, as seen by that 3-yard loss. So I don't want to count the Vikings out, ladies and gentlemen, but this is probably going to be what John Harbaugh considers a rest game. McCarthy now, a lot of time to throw. Going to pass, and that's going to be caught. They're going to choose to punt it here on 4th and inches. Kick is away from the 49. And it is going to take actually a pretty lucky bounce and be taken at the 10. As Lamar Jackson is going to come out. Taking a look at his career stats there, they are definitely respectable, and he has actually been having a pretty good season. He is, in some people's MVP conversations, he's been doing relatively well, and definitely a big part of this team being 5-3. Unfortunate loss there. Derrick Henry got absolutely laid out there. That was Byron Murphy on the tackle. He absolutely laid out Derrick Henry, which is hard to do. 2nd and 11 now. Jackson, man to the left. Mark Andrews going to motion right. Derrick Henry is definitely going to make up for that last play as he gets about 7 yards on that game. It's going to bring up 3rd and 4 now. Jackson with the back lined up to his right. It looks like it is not Derrick Henry. He might be taking a break. John Harbaugh might have pulled him. Who knows, really? But either way, we can confidently say that they made the wrong decision, because that is a 6-yard loss immediately bottled up. Yet another 3 and out to start this. It looks like the lineman almost got the assist on that tackle as he just fully stopped any momentum he had. Kick is away, courtesy of Matt Prater. It's going to be taken from about the 38, and it's going to be brought out to about the 40. J.J. McCarthy going to get yet another drive started for us here with some pretty dang good field position. We're going to see what he is able to do with it. 1st and 10 now, under center, man in the backfield. Looks like he is going to fake the handoff and pass down the middle. And that is actually going to be caught. Jalen Mailer with a phenomenal catch there.
And the Vikings first down.
1st and 10 now from inside the Ravens 30. J.J. McCarthy is going to choose to hand it off there to Jordan Mason, who is going to get a solid gain of 12 yards, taken from the 49ers in this offseason. He actually ran a lot on them in week 2 of last year when he was on the Niners, and now he is doing phenomenal runs for them. Another handoff there. That is going to be Chandler with a 5-yard gain on that run. Second and 5 now. McCarthy back lined up to his right. Going to pitch it to the sideline to Chandler once again, who's going to actually get substantial yardage despite the play starting off looking poor. And that is going to bring up 3rd and 1. McCarthy now back lined up to his right. Going to look to pass here. Just fire a quick one over the middle. And that was intended for Hawkinson, but he was not able to keep his hands on it.
It's 4th down.
The Vikings are going to choose to kick this field goal here.
A 24-yard attempt.
Kick is up. It is good. And the Vikings fans are starting this game in the lead, which they are probably very happy about. They have held the lead for almost least time in the league. They are definitely in many people's list of bottom 5 teams, like with the Browns and Dolphins, who have also been playing very poorly. Juked on the kickoff return and is going to get all the way out to the 43. As we take a look at QB rush touchdowns, that stat should surprise absolutely no one. Lamar Jackson, except when Jalen Hurts decides to push, has always been one of the leading rushers for the quarterbacks, and sometimes just overall. Little handoff there, going to be taken down for a loss of 1. That was Robinson on the tackle. And that is not a good way to start a drive if you are John Harbaugh or Lamar Jackson. 2nd and 11 now. Jackson with the back lined up to his left, going to look to pass, and he is going to be sacked. Javon Hargrave on that one. The Ravens offense is completely dead in the water to start off this game. They have had 5 plays total this game and have had net negative yardage unless Jackson can pull off something here. And he is just going to have to throw that one away. And that is yet another 0-game play. 4th down now, Jordan Stone going to punt this one away. It's going to be taken from about the 15. And it's going to be taken out to about the 27. J.J. McCarthy coming out now to start off yet another drive. Only a field goal on that last one, but I mean, your defense has been absolutely stepping up. So he can kind of just coast here, despite it only being a 3-point lead. 1st and 10 now. McCarthy going to choose to hand it off. And Chandler is going to be stuffed almost immediately by Odafe Owe for a 4-yard loss. That's just not something you want to see to start off any drive. We saw it with the Ravens on that last drive, and we saw how that ended up going for them. McCarthy now back lined up to his left. Going to look to pass here. He's going to fire a quick one intended for Jordan Addison, but wasn't able to keep his hands on it. That was, I believe, Jair Alexander on the coverage.
It's now 3rd down.
3rd and 14 now. J.J. McCarthy back lined up to his left. Going to look to pass. Scrambling to the right, throwing deep down the middle, and that one is going to fall down. Intended for Jordan Addison, but Kyle Hamilton prevented anything from happening there.
In punt formation for the Vikings.
Yet another 3 and out in this game. Not much offense has been played except for the nice little 50-yard drive that the Vikings were able to put together. Lamar Jackson going to get started for yet another drive. I believe they have 3 and out in both of the drives they have had to start this game. So you definitely want to try to get something going right now before the end of the first quarter. Jackson with the back line up to his right now. Going to motion over a receiver to the left. Looking to pass. Firing deep down the sideline. And that is going to be broken up. It looks like it was intended for Rashad Bateman. You saw that stat right there. The Ravens have had negative 8 yards of offense this whole game. And finally, a good play for them as they are able to get a pass off to Zay Flowers for a large gain. 26 yards on that pass. And a nice play. Just stepped up in the pocket and was just able to air one out over the middle. Just left a little bit open, and then he was able to just get that jump ball right there. 1st and 10 now. Jackson under center. Henry in the backfield. He's going to choose to hand it off. He's going to juke multiple guys and then break a tackle as well to get another 1st down right there. Nice 11-yard gain. That's going to bring up yet another 1st down.
A gain of 11 on the play.
Jackson now back lined up to his left. Likely in a motion left. And that run is going to be swallowed up immediately for a loss of 2.
He was taken down behind the line of scrimmage. It's a loss of 2.
It's going to bring up 2nd and 12 now as we are down to about 2 minutes left in the 1st quarter. Jackson with a back lined up to his left. Gonna fake the handoff and try to fire over the middle and almost intercepted there. Phenomenal effort by number 98 there, but he just wasn't able to get his hands on it in time. Jackson now, Henry lined up to his right, gonna look to pass. Fire towards the sideline. It was caught, but he was very much out of bounds there, so Matt Prater is gonna be forced to go for a field goal here. Kick is up, and it is good. And we are back to a tied game at 3. Pretty defensive first quarter, to say the least, with there being less than 100 yards of offense total. And we are going to see if the game decides to stay with this or if the offenses are going to choose to kick it into higher gear. J.J. McCarthy is going to have to start from his own 13 here, though, as that return was very suboptimal. 1st and 10 now. McCarthy under center, man in the backfield. Gonna choose to hand it off here, and that is going to be Mason absolutely laid out for a loss of 1. That was Roquan Smith on the tackle. 2nd and 11 is going to be what we're with now. McCarthy back lined up to his left, and there's going to be a false start on the offensive line.
False start on offense.
It looks like that was the superstar lineman, which you don't see often. You don't see men of that caliber making those mistakes, but just unfortunate for the Vikings in a time where their offense is already working at very low efficiency. They're actually going to choose to hand it off here to Mason, and he is going to get substantial yardage there. 13 yards on the run. Going to bring up 3rd and relatively short with 3rd and 3 and 40 seconds on the clock. Going to choose to hand it off again, and he is going to get yet another great run. Oh my goodness. Breaking free down the sideline. It's Chandler. Oh my goodness. This defense, which is known for absolutely eating up running backs, and Ty Chandler, the backup, able to get a speed boost and beat out Jair Alexander. A phenomenal play there. And the Vikings fans are really happy with that. Rijkaard going to go for the point after attempts here. Kick is up, and it is good. And Vikings fans are very happy with that, as a phenomenal run is able to get them a 1-score lead. Rijkaard now going to kick off for the Vikings. Ball going to be taken from about the 2-yard line, and it's going to be brought out to about the 30. And that is where Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry are going to get a chance to start this off. Taking a look at his season stats, he hasn't been averaging that many yards per carry, but he has gotten a couple crucial scores, and that has been all the Ravens have needed from him when it comes to being on. Going to hand it off to Rashad Bateman there, and we have seen very little success with plays like that. Maybe the entire league got wise to Ben Johnson's shenanigans last season and have just become used to it. But wide out handoffs have not worked well in the past while. As we come to the end of the first quarter, it is a one-score lead for the Vikings. As we take a look at some of the plays from there, the juke on the kickoff return, and then that very long run by Ty Chandler, and a few of the defensive plays by the Baltimore Ravens. Just another look at that run. One of the crazier plays we've seen done on this Ravens defense, as we have seen multiple games. I believe this is the third now that I have had the pleasure of commentating, and you have not seen any rushing plays go that crazy on their defense. Deep pass now, intended for, I believe that's the backup running back, but there is a flag just holding on the offense on the attempted throw. Roger Rosengarten just not able to play that cleanly. As we have 2nd and 22 now, Jackson alone in the backfield. Looks like he's going to bring Derrick Henry over to his left. He's going to try to hand it off there to Derrick Henry, and he is going to lose another 3 yards, as Hargrave is going to get yet another TFL. And now we have 3rd and a very long 25 yards, and we're just going to see what Lamar Jackson can cook up on this final play. Going to look to pass here. Just fire a quick one over the middle to Rashad Bateman. He's going to get 6 yards, but that is absolutely nowhere near. Tackled by Cashman there. And that is yet another 3 and out for this Baltimore offense. Punt is away. So it's going to be taken from about the 26, and it's going to be stopped almost immediately, getting only out to about the 20. As we take a look at Ty Chandler, 5 rushes, 80 yards is a stat that you would like to see if you are him. 16 yards per carry, a modest stat in this league. Another handoff here to Jordan Mason, who is unfortunately stopped for a loss of 1. The Vikings rushing attack has been far more effective against this Ravens defense than what most offenses have been able to put up, which is surprising considering it is usually quite poor. McCarthy going to look to pass here, and that is going to be caught over the middle and taken for a pretty large gain. That is Jalen Naylor with a 32-yard gain on that pass. This Ravens defense has been, unfortunately, not doing that well for them. They've been getting the tackles on certain plays, but some places, like the Vikings players, are covered in grease. 2nd and 9 now. McCarthy with the back lined up to his right. Gonna motion in JJ. Pass over the middle intended for one of the Vikings receivers, Ty Felton. We have seen only one successful 3rd down conversion from both teams so far this game. McCarthy going to motion Chandler out to the left side. JJ's going to look to pass, and it's going to be intended for Jefferson, but Kyle Hamilton is going to absolutely blow that up. It's going to be the Vikings punting it here. Kick is away. It is going to bounce into the end zone, and that is going to bring up a touchback for this Ravens offense. As we take a look at the rushing yards for the QBs, Jaden Daniels has actually been outperforming Lamar Jackson so far this season, which is not what many people expected from him. But Jackson is still hot on his tail, so that stat could very well change just in this game. He's going to hand it off to Derrick Henry, though, and he is going to get stopped immediately. It was a little bit of a slow handoff, and the Vikings defensive line has been capitalizing on any mistake of that type so far this game. John Harbaugh has not been able to find an answer for this Vikings D-line. Handoff successful to Derrick Henry that time, and he is going to get substantial yardage there, almost 20 yards on that one. As soon as he got there to the defensive line, there was absolutely no one who could stop him. No one in the secondary was able to even touch him for a great deal of that run before he was eventually taken down by Cashman. 1st and 10 now. Jackson under center, 2 men in the backfield. Going to motion likely over to the right side. Handoff to Derrick Henry. And once again, that defensive line is swallowing up most attempts to get any rushing yards on the board. 2nd and 10 now. Jackson with the back line up to his left. Going to choose to pass here. Firing over the middle, and that is going to be caught by Rashad Bateman directly down to midfield. Nice little 14-yard catch there, and that is going to bring up another Baltimore 1st and 10. Jackson now under center, back in the backfield. Going to hand it off here, and once again, the blitz is just unable. The blitz is fully able, actually, to stop the Ravens' rushing attack. 2nd and 10 now, after no gain on that last one. Jackson's going to look to pass. Going to be caught over the middle to DeAndre Hopkins, who is going to get about 5 yards on the catch. 3rd and 5 now from the Vikings 45. Going to pass it over the middle. It's going to be caught by DeAndre Hopkins, and that is going to be enough for a 1st down. Nice little 7-yard catch there. And then he's going to bring up 1st and 10. Jackson now under center, 2 men in the backfield. Going to motion likely to the right side. Going to choose to hand it off to Derrick Henry, who's able to get through that defensive line and then get a little speed boost. And that is going to be enough for an 8-yard gain, bringing up 2nd and 2. Jackson now under center, 2 men in the backfield. Going to choose to hand it off to, I believe that's the fullback, and he is going to get nothing on that play. That was Justice Hill, the ball carrier, and he was unable to get any gain there. 3rd and 2 now. Jackson with the back line up to his right. Going to need to make something happen here if he wants to keep this drive going. Going to motion Rashad Bateman over, fake the handoff to him. Pass to the right side, and that is going to be out of reach of Bateman. No one was on him, but he was just unable to make the connection there. It's going to bring up 4th and 2, and John Harbaugh is going to decide actually to go for this. Jackson now with the back line up to his right. Going to pass over the middle real quick, and that is going to pay off. Caught by Isaiah Likely into the red zone, as the Ravens are going to have their first red zone play of the game. Jackson going to choose to hand it off. That's going to be Keaton Mitchell for another large gain. That was more than 10 yards. That's going to bring up 1st and goal for this Ravens offense. Jackson with the back line up to his right. I believe that's the fullback once again. Jackson's going to choose to run this himself. Going to get a solid 2 yards there as the clock is going to tick past 3 minutes left in the half. Jackson looked a little shaken up there. That's going to bring up 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Jackson now, 2 men in the backfield. Going to motion over what looks to be one of the backup linemen. Hand it off to Henry, who is going to run it in real quick for a touchdown. That was a nice sustained drive that the Ravens needed after a whole lot of not much for the remainder of the first half. That was a nice little cherry on top of the cake, as the Ravens are going to attempt to tie this game up. Matt Prater, kick is up. It is good. And we are back to a tie game. 8-minute, 31-second drive. Nice sustained run there. And the Ravens are probably feeling a lot better after that. Prater going to kick off for us now. Going to be taken from inside the 5 and brought out to the 34. J.J. McCarthy is going to get one more chance probably for a little bit of a drive. McCarthy is going to start under center, back in the backfield, 1st and 10. Going to choose to hand it off to Jordan Mason, who is going to get out to the side and get a nice little 9-yard gain there, as it is going to take us to the 2-1. You can see Minnesota in the background. Probably beautiful day outside, getting brisk here in fall, which means perfect time for football, as we are back from the break with 2nd and 1. Gonna pass over the middle.
McCarthy's pass.
Looks like it was intended for Naylor, but he was unable to keep his hands on it.
3rd down and 1.
3rd and 1 now. He's gonna motion out the running back. McCarthy's gonna take this himself and then just slide down at midfield. He does have legs on him.
7-yard gain.
He may not be the most efficient passer, but he definitely can sneak for it if needed. And right there was a perfect example of it. McCarthy now back lined up to his left, looking to pass again over the middle. And that was into triple coverage intended for Naylor. If you had Justin Jefferson there, maybe he could have caught it. But Naylor up against this level of pass defense was unable to catch it. Nice little pass to Jordan Addison for a gain of about 5 yards there, just caught to the right side. As we tick past 80 seconds left in the half, McCarthy's going to motion in Jordan Mason. Finally going to snap the ball, going to look to pass. Firing right side, and that's going to be caught by Naylor, as that is going to be enough for McCarthy to pass 100 yards on the day. Quick little replay there, just was able to get the separation on the right side and catch it right before he got laid out there by the defense. McCarthy now back lined up to his right, going to look to pass, looking. He's going to choose to run it himself and be tackled for no gain. Not sure if that one's going to go down as a sack because it was technically no gain, but the Ravens defense did manage to make a stop there. McCarthy now going to choose to throw again. And that is going to be caught by Naylor, his 5th catch of the day. He's been performing well above average for what he usually does. As we pass 20 seconds left, JJ is going to choose to throw yet again. Going to be just quickly over the middle to Naylor, but there is going to be a flag on the play. And it is going to be holding on the offense there, unfortunately. Christian Darrisaw just couldn't keep his hands off that one. 15 seconds left in the half. 3rd and 15 now. Gonna look to pass. Gonna be hit as he throws, and that is gonna be picked off by Roquan Smith. Unfortunate there for JJ. Tried to get it off while he was hit, and just got absolutely wobbled as that ball that looks pretty good to start off just turned into an absolute sandwich that Roquan Smith was able to get really easy. Lamar Jackson now back lined up to his left. Enough time for probably one deep ball. And choose to just actually quickly throw it over the middle to DeAndre Hopkins. And now with 5 seconds left, they're probably going to go for a Hail Mary. First off, though, we've got false start on the offense, which is going to make the Hail Mary just a little bit harder. And Jackson is going to actually choose to just go in victory pose here. Don't want to mess up your stats going into halftime, as that is going to take us to the end of the first half of this game. What many people expected to be a blowout is actually a tied game as of now at 10-10. Just a quick halftime report, taking a look at some of the stuff that's happened in this game. There were a few impressive special teams plays by the Ravens. We had that massive run by Ty Hardman for the Vikings. We had that wobbler of a ball just before the end of the half caught by Roquan Smith for the interception for the Ravens. Just another look at that run by Hardman. Definitely the most impressive play of the game so far, as both offenses have been working in unorthodox ways, to say the least, as we are about to enter the second half. Riker going to kick it off. It's going to be taken from about the 5-yard line, and it's going to be brought out to about the 25. Taking a look at Derrick Henry's stats on the season, he has definitely made them look a little bit better today, passing 550 yards and getting his 5th score of the season. The Ravens' offense has still been radically underperforming compared to the Vikings, but it has been enough to keep this a tie game. You've got to imagine they made halftime adjustments, as Derrick Henry is going to immediately prove my point and get a large rush for almost 25 yards there, as that is going to bring up 1st and 10. Jackson now 2 men in the backfield, going to motion one of them to the right side along with Mark Andrews. Going to choose to hand it off once again to Derrick Henry, who is going to get about 3 yards on that one. But yeah, we took a second to speak with Harbaugh when he was coming out of the locker room. He said that they definitely need to make adjustments on the offense after being almost doubled in yardage by the Vikings, whose offense has not been able to get going much this season. So far, it seems like they've been making a good effort in the 4 plays that we've seen. 3rd and 7 now. Jackson going to choose to pass. It's going to be caught over the middle by Mark Andrews, who was able to break multiple tackles and get all the way down to the 21.
A gain of 26 yards.
May have lost them the playoffs last year, but he has definitely been spending most of this season trying to make it up, and that is a great way to do it. 26 yards on the reception, all the way down to just before the red zone. Jackson now under center, 2 men in the backfield. Looks to be making some call-outs. Going to fake the handoff, pass it to the backup. I believe that might be the fullback.
He's out of bounds at the 14-yard line.
Jackson now back lined up to his left. Going to choose to throw on 2nd and 3, and that is going to be out of the range of DeAndre Hopkins. He was unable to get his hands on that one. 3rd and 3 now. Jackson under center, 2 men in the backfield. Going to choose to hand it off to Derrick Henry, who is able to shed 1 tackle, but is still going to be absolutely demolished. That was Metellus on the tackle. The Ravens' offensive line just absolutely broke down there, and Henry just tried to do his best, breaking 1 of the tackles, but there's only so much that man can do when he's faced with 4 defensive linemen coming at him. Prater going to try to go for a nice little 37-yard attempt here. Kick is up. It is good. And that is going to give the Ravens the lead for the first time this game. Prater's going to also kick it off for us here. Kick is away. Going to be taken from about the 3-yard line. And it's going to be brought out a pretty good distance, all the way out to almost midfield. 42 is where this ball is going to be placed to start the drive for J.J. McCarthy. He started the game off pretty well, but just an interception in the final seconds of the half. Roquan Smith doesn't seem to know where he is, as that was a pretty obvious offsides, and J.J. McCarthy is going to choose to air it out for the free play there. Roquan Smith, I think Harbaugh might want to pull him and check for CTE. I don't think he knew what side of the field he was supposed to be on there, ladies and gentlemen. McCarthy now going to hand it off to Jordan Mason, who's going to get a good burst of speed and get a nice gain of almost 20 yards there.
It's a gain of 21 yards.
21 yards, in fact. It's going to bring them all the way down to the Ravens 32, as McCarthy is under center, going to choose to hand it off again, and Jordan Mason is not going to be so lucky that time, as that is going to be bottled up for a loss of 1 almost immediately.
Brings up 2nd and 11 at the Ravens 33.
2nd and 11 now from the Ravens 33. McCarthy with the back lined up to his left. Going to choose to hand it off there once again. That was Chandler who tried to get some gain there. Madubuike who got the tackle. Yet another loss of yardage there, as it is going to be 3rd and pretty dang long. Chandler going to motion to the left side. Going to look to pass McCarthy to the sideline. Unfortunately, while it was caught, Hawkinson was out of bounds.
Wiggins on the coverage.
Wiggins was the one who covered that. attempted field goal here by the Vikings, and they are actually able to get that one in. Pretty long attempt there by Riker, but he was able to make it. As the game is once again tied for the third time today. Going to be taken from about the 5-yard line, as it is going to be brought out to about the 30. Taking a look once again at Derrick Henry's season stats. They love showing these, as he has gotten 23 yards since the start of the half, which is definitely a solid adjustment considering how the game started for the Ravens offense. Jackson now with the back lined up to his right. Going to choose to pass here. Going to be intended for Mark Andrews, and he was not able to keep his hands on it. Number 44 absolutely lit him up there. 2nd and 10 now. Jackson with the back lined up to his left. Henry is back in now. Going to choose to throw, and that is going to be caught by DeAndre Hopkins in the center of midfield for a nice little 15-yard gain. It's going to bring up a first down for Baltimore. Jackson under center now. Henry in the backfield. Going to choose to hand it off. Going to break multiple tackles and get almost enough for a first down. 9-yard gain there, and that is going to bring up 2nd and 1. Jackson now under center. Henry in the backfield. And unfortunately, there's going to be a false start on the offensive line. 2nd and 6 now. Jackson with 3 men in the backfield. This is a very weird position. And Jackson is going to actually lose the ball there. Thankfully picked up by a member of the offensive line. Looks like it was pushed out by Turner there, wobbled around a bit by the offensive line, and it was, I believe that's Nate Baum who was able to pick it up. 3rd and very long now. Jackson, 2 men in the backfield. Going to motion Mark Andrews to the left. You kind of have to pass here, and it looks like he's going to attempt to. Deep down the sideline, intended for multiple people, and number 44 on the defense almost managed to intercept it with some ballet moves there, but it fell dead. Ravens are simply going to be forced to punt it away here as the kick is away. Taken at about the 10-yard line and going to be brought out to about the 16. As we take a look at Jordan Mason, who has had a pretty good day so far, 6 yards per carry. Definitely overshadowed by Ty Chandler getting that massive touchdown earlier, but he has still had a very respectable game. McCarthy now back lined up to his right, going to motion Justin Jefferson over. And McCarthy is actually going to choose to run this one himself, and he is going to get substantial yardage there. Almost 20 yards on that run, as Kyle Hamilton was just able to get him there. Justin Jefferson has, in my opinion, been very underutilized so far this game. McCarthy under center now, man in the backfield. Going to motion Justin Jefferson to the right side. Going to choose to hand it off to Jordan Mason here, and he is going to lose yardage there. Just a little loss of 1, but any loss is not what you want to see on first down. 2nd and 11 now. McCarthy with the back lined up to his right. Going to look to pass deep over the middle. That is going to be intended for Jefferson, but he was hit as he tried to catch it. And that is going to bring up 3rd and 11.
Brings up 3rd down and 11.
Chandler motioning to the right. McCarthy passing over the middle. It's going to be caught by TJ Hawkinson, who looked like he was reaching for it, but was unable to get the first down.
A 10-yard gain.
It's going to bring up 4th and 1 now. And the Vikings are going to be forced to punt it once again. Kick is away. Fair catch called for. It's going to take... Honestly, I don't know if you would consider that bounce lucky or not. As we get, you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, yet another look at Derrick Henry's season stats. 1st and 10 now. Jackson alone in the backfield. Henry lined up slightly to the right. Going to motion to the left side. Jackson's looking to pass, and he is going to be tackled almost for a safety. They're going to rule him not in the end zone, though. The fabled 30-step drop back that he was unable to escape from, and that is Turner on the massive loss there, as it is going to be 2nd and 23 now. Jackson, with 2 men in the backfield, is going to choose to hand it off to the fullback there. And that is going to be a gain of about 3 yards. 3rd and a very long now. Jackson going to look to pass here. Fire a quick one over the middle. Rashad Bateman, sorry, able to catch it. But it is not going to be enough for a first down. 4th and 6 now. Ravens are going to be forced to punt once again. Ball is away. Going to be fielded at about the 30, and is going to be brought out to about the 34. McCarthy now going to get a chance to start up another drive as we are at exactly 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. McCarthy now back lined up to his left for 1st and 10. Jordan Addison's going to motion to the left side. Snap taken. Looks like he's going to pass. Going to scramble, in fact. And McCarthy is going to get a pretty good gain there, but it looks like there is a flag. And it is going to be holding on the offense. Christian Darasaw with his 2nd penalty of the day. Not what you want to see on 1st down, as it is now going to bring up 1st and 20. McCarthy looking to pass, firing, and that is going to be broken up by Kyle Hamilton. Intended for Jalen Naylor. McCarthy has felt very comfortable throwing to him, even in times when he probably shouldn't, but that is going to bring up 2nd and 20. Going to choose to hand it off here to Jordan Mason, who's going to get absolutely laid out after a hard-fought 2 yards. 3rd and a very long now, 18 yards to go. Back lined up to McCarthy's right here. He's going to choose to pass. He's going to fire a quick one over the middle to Justin Jefferson, who is going to gain about just a yard there, as Owuzie was on the tackle there.
In punt formation for the Vikings.
I don't think we've had enough punts so far this half, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going to get yet another that is going to be taken out to about the 28. Taking a look at Derrick Henry's stats today, he has had relatively good numbers, about 5 yards per carry and a touchdown. Definitely nothing to sneeze at, especially considering the rest of the offense has been working at subpar rates, to say the least. Jackson going to motion out Henry, now alone in the backfield. Going to throw over the middle, and that is going to be caught by Rashad Bateman for a gain of about 2. As that is going to bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. This game is still anybody's, as we are still tied at 13 points. A lot of people thought this was going to be a blowout in favor of the Ravens, but the Vikings have not been going down easy. Taking a look at that interception by Roquan Smith once again, and that run by Chandler. Both teams have a lot to be happy about from this game, but both would definitely want to come out with a win. 2nd and 7 now. Jackson going to start off the 4th quarter here, back lined up to his left. Going to choose to hand it off to Rashad Bateman here, and he is going to lose a yard there, as we get yet another example of why you don't hand it off to the wideout. 3rd and 8 now. Jackson with a back lined up to his left. Going to choose to pass here. Going to be hit as he throws, but DeAndre Hopkins still able to make the catch and get just enough for a first down. Hard fought. He almost got stopped for 4th and inches, but he was able to get it just right at the end there.
8-yard pickup. First down, Ravens.
You can see he caught it and then made the quick turn out and was able to beat, I believe that was the corner and the linebacker, to get that last coveted yard. 1st and 10 now. Jackson under center, man in the backfield. Going to hand it off to Derrick Henry, who is going to get a lot of separation, break a few tackles, and bring it all the way out to the 36 there. 25 yards on that run. Phenomenal play that the Ravens desperately need right now. And that is going to bring up 1st and 10 into Vikings territory. Jackson now back lined up behind him. Going to choose to hand it off to Derrick Henry, who's going to break more tackles again and get enough for yet another 1st down. As he is bringing his yards per carry into the ceiling right now. 1st and 10 once again. Jackson under center. Mark Andrews motioning left. Going to choose to hand it off to the backup Keaton Mitchell there, who's going to get a respectable 3 yards, as it is going to bring up 2nd and 7. Jackson now back in the backfield. Derrick Henry still is not ready to come back in. DeAndre Hopkins is going to motion through the backfield, as Keaton Mitchell is going to lose yards after being Looney Tunes flipped over by Cashman on one of his many tackles he has had so far today. 3rd and 8 now. Jackson back lined up to his left, going to look to pass here. Going to be caught, and that is going to be just enough for a 1st and Justice Hill caught that ball just open over the middle. He was just able to fight Cashman for yet another 1st down there. 1st and 10 now. Jackson with 2 men in the backfield. Going to choose to hand it off. Not only is it going to be very little yardage gained, it is also going to be an illegal block in the back that is going to bring up 1st and 20. 1st and 20 now. Jackson with a back lined up to his left. Going to motion DeAndre Hopkins. Going to fake the handoff to Hopkins and hand it off to Rashad Ali, who's going to lose even more yardage there. Loss of 3. That's going to bring up 2nd and a very long 23 yards. This Vikings defense has not allowed much rushing from anyone other than Derrick Henry. Jackson going to look to pass now, and that is going to be way overthrown on Mark Andrews. Cashman was in coverage, but there wasn't much coverage needed when Lamar Jackson sent that thing to space. Jackson going to look to pass again, rolling out to his left. Going to try to get that one off, but it's just going to be thrown out. And there's going to be even more holding called on the offense. And they're going to choose to decline this and just let the Ravens kick the field goal. 3rd and 33 would have been interesting to see. Oh my goodness. Matt Prater doinks one in. And it looks like the person on the music in the stadium had about the same reaction that I did. I thought that bounced out. But that is going to be enough for the Ravens to actually get into the lead, as the ball is going to be taken out to about the 27 by the Vikings special team. J.J. McCarthy now, starting at his own 27, is going to have 9 minutes to try to score a touchdown and put themselves in the lead, or at least get a field goal and tie this game up. McCarthy back lined up to his left, motioning right now. Going to choose to pass over the middle. Intended for Justin Jefferson, but he looks like he had 5 different men on him and just was not able to make the reception. McCarthy now back lined up to his left, motioning Hawkinson out, going to fire to the right side. That is going to be caught by Jordan Addison, and that is going to be enough for a 1st down.
13 yards on
McCarthy now under center, 2 men in the backfield. Going to choose to hand it off to Jordan Mason, who is once again going to get enough for another 1st down. That's 2 in a row for the Vikings, as they are absolutely marching down the field right now. McCarthy under center, man in the backfield. Going to hand it off once again. That's going to be Mason, who's going to get about 3 yards there. Taking a look at the Ravens takeaways, they ranked 6th overall in the league And they have gotten just one today, but that is definitely nothing to sneeze at. Whether it served a purpose or not is debatable, considering it happened at the very end of the last half. But their defense has definitely been locking in so far this half, as they have only been able to get 3 points. 3rd and 8 now, as we take past 6 minutes left in the game. McCarthy going to choose to pass here. Got plenty of time, trying to throw, and it is unfortunately going to be overthrown on Jordan Addison as he looks to be getting into a scuffle. The Nate Wiggins on coverage looked to be getting in a bit of a scuffle with Justin Jefferson, as the Vikings are going to choose to punt this one away. Kick is away, and that is going to be a phenomenal punt all the way down to the 2-yard line, and Jackson is going to be starting this drive from within his own end zone. Jackson now 2 men in the backfield. Going to choose to hand it off to Derrick Henry. And that is a safety for the Vikings. And the Skull fans are happy now. Byron Murphy, just unlimited pressure there on Henry, and he was just the one who was able to finish it off. Just absolutely trucked Derrick Henry, stopped all forward momentum, and then Cashman finished the job. Prater going to kick this one off now. Bit of a weird formation, but safeties are just a weird thing in general. As the Vikings are going to get this ball now, only 1 point down. And now J.J. McCarthy has 6 minutes to set up a game-winning drive. McCarthy now back lined up to his right, gonna motion Naylor over. Gonna look to pass, caught over the middle to the right side by, it looks like it's Sample there. McCarthy gonna choose to hand it off here, and that is going to be, that was Klon on the run, and that was enough for a first down. 1st and 10 now, McCarthy under center, man in the backfield. Justin Jefferson's going to motion to the right. Going to choose to hand it off again to Chandler, who is going to, I believe, get just a few yards there, just 2 yards, as it is going to bring up 2nd and 8. McCarthy now going to motion a man into the backfield, now lined up to his right. Going to choose to pass here, looking, and he is going to be sacked by Buchanan for a 9-yard loss. That is not what you want to see right now if you are Kevin O'Connell. You know, look at that. Teddy Buchanan just came off the right side. McCarthy didn't even have a chance to react. He was just able to get him for a pretty big loss. McCarthy now alone in the backfield on 3rd and 17. If you want any chance of winning this game, you probably have to convert this. He's going to be hit as he throws once again, and that is going to bring up 4th and 17. The Vikings going to choose to punt this one away and put it in the hands of their very capable defense, who has definitely showed that this is the right play throughout this game. Going to be taken from the 18 and be taken out to about the 31. Taking a look at Derrick Henry. He has had 0 receiving yards today, which is unusual for him to say the least. Usually his yards come from multiple sources, but he has broken 100 rushing yards on the day, which is impressive. Jackson now going to choose to pass. Going out to the right side, going to scramble for the first time today. And Lamar Jackson is going to get plenty for a first down and also stop the clock, which actually, I believe, helps out the Vikings more than it does the Ravens. Derrick Henry now going to be bullied around by the defensive line and lose a yard on that one. 16-15. Not often you see a score that looks like this, ladies and gentlemen. 2nd and 11 now. Jackson under center, 2 men in the backfield, going to motion likely to the right side. Going to fake the handoff to Henry, pass over the middle, and that is going to be caught by Zay Flowers into field goal range. Nice 20-yard reception there, as Kevin O'Connell is going to call his second timeout now. Jackson under center, Henry in the backfield, going to choose to hand it off to him. And he is going to gain just a few yards there, as Kevin O'Connell is going to be forced to call his final timeout of the game. Your main option now, if you are the Vikings, is get a stop here, force the field goal, and potentially have him miss, or if he gets it, be forced to go for the touchdown. As Derrick Henry is going to lose substantial yardage there, and that is the worst possible option for this Ravens team. Unfortunately, it looks like Cashman, the linebacker who has had a great impact so far this game, is injured and going to walk into the locker room. So we take a look at beautiful US Bank Stadium as we reach the 2-minute warning. Lamar Jackson under center now on 3rd and 15, 2 men in the backfield. Going to choose to hand this off to Derrick Henry, who is going to get a few yards there, but that is going to bring up 4th and 11. And it looks like they are probably just going to have to settle for the field goal here. Nice little tackle by Turner there. Prater, he doinked one earlier from less yardage, as the clock is going to tick down to about 1:10 left, as that ball is going to barely go in, and that is going to force the Vikings, if they want to win this game, to get a touchdown. I made multiple mentions of game-winning drives for J.J. McCarthy, but now is actually going to be the real one, as we have a minute 11 left with a 4-point deficit. A field goal does not get you what you need, but a touchdown guaranteed puts you in the lead. McCarthy now going to look to pass, firing right side, and that's going to be caught by Jordan Addison for a pretty good gain, out to about midfield.
13 yards on the play.
McCarthy now alone in the backfield in hurry-up offense. Less than a minute left. He's going to throw down the sideline, and that is going to be incomplete. Almost caught by Addison, but he was just out of bounds. 2nd and 10 now with the clock stopped. McCarthy alone in the backfield now. Going to be hit as he throws, and that one is just going to fly out of bounds.
On the throwaway.
The essentially rookie seems to be under a lot of stress so far this drive. 3rd and 10, just going to pass it over the middle, and that's going to be caught with Justin Jefferson making one of his first notable plays of the game. He has not done much, but that is a very crucial catch, as it looks like McCarthy is just going to spike this one. 2nd and 10 now. McCarthy back lined up to his left with 31 seconds on the clock. Going to look to pass, and he is going to be sacked. That is worst case scenario. All the defenders and receivers having to run back into position, as we are going to pass, or not pass, get just to about 20 seconds left in the game. 4th and 12 now, potentially last play of the game for McCarthy. They need this first down here, or the game is over. Going to be passed over the middle, and that is going to be knocked down.
It's a
turnover on downs, and unfortunately, J.J. McCarthy's insanity run against a very good Ravens defense is going to come to a sad close. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the game. Ravens win this road game 19-15. J.J. McCarthy might have a good amount to look forward to in this league, but that probably hurts a lot more than a win would have. Taking a look at some of the plays from throughout the afternoon. Beautiful run by Henry for the touchdown early on, and then that insane run by Ty Chandler definitely the play of the game if you're looking for something entertaining. But the Vikings were just unable to get the win here today. They fall even further on the season to 1-8. And with that, I'm your host, AJ. Thank you so much for watching. The Ravens get the win here in US Bank Stadium, and I will see you next week.